Hi, welcome to Pro Modeler, Friday's blog. What are we now, 20th of March. A few things happening on the site, as you know, various bits and pieces. The forum now seems to be all okay and all stable. Everyone's got their various bits and pieces. I'll be adding to it things I know are working, so I'll get those things sorted out and we'll get them done this week coming up. Don't forget, we've got the group build still going on. Obviously a lot of you now are getting your model sort of completed. There's only a short while to go on that. I'm not exactly sure of the dates, but there's only something like 2 months left to run on that. So if you are working your way through the build, crack on with it. Don't forget, everybody who takes part will get one of these, which is the Pro Modelers Group Build medal, which is all engraved and very nice. Obviously this is for the last one, which was the Naval Group Build. Obviously anyone who takes part and enters will get one of those. We'll send you those. So it's well worth just doing, just to get the medal. So on the site now, don't forget you can sign up yearly. You do save a bit. It's just on the subscription page, as we were saying. Sign up first to the yearly one and then cancel your second one, and that way it just flows through because the system just, it sees you there and doesn't try and cancel you out. Otherwise, you do it the other way, you might get an email saying, you know, you've cancelled your thing, are you sure, type of thing, get in contact. If you do, don't worry about it. I'll see it when it comes through and spot the difference, so we can get it sorted like that. The other thing we was talking about on the site at the moment, somebody asked me, you know, about doing cars or motorbikes and things like that, and you know, why don't we do them? It's personal choice. You know, I like my aircraft, I do my aircraft. That's not to say the site itself is purely just for aircraft and armour and things like that. You know, we want to expand this to get everybody on board. I'd love to see a few guys who do trains stuff and dioramas get involved as well, because I'd really love to see that. It's something I'm quite interested in myself, so I'd like to be able to see it on the site, and then we could develop it and everything else. But yes, the site isn't just armour and aircraft and all things military, it is civilian stuff. So it is your normal cars, your sports cars, bikes, bike kits, trains, dioramas, housings, various bits and pieces, anything like that whatsoever. Please either join the site if you're not, or if you have, whack it up, get it on there on the forum, and I'd love then to take some of your work, because you know, I know my field and I stick to aircraft. I'm not totally up to speed on various things like yeah, I was just saying motorbikes and doing gloss work and things like that. So if anybody is a bit of an expert out there in budding thing and wants to do a few step throughs like you might be seeing on the news page now, we've got the tutorials of the guys that have gone up there and taken the time to put them in. That's not me doing any of that, that's the guys themselves. I just put them on the site, so full credit to them. So if you are into all of that thing, please get in contact and we can get you up on the main site. Okay, so I've been asked lots and lots of times about sending models through the post and how I do it. I can honestly say I've sent well over 500 models through the post now, normally singly, but sometimes 2 in a box, things like that. I've only had 2 that have been totally destroyed beyond repair, and I've probably had about 5 now where it's just been minor things, undercarriage has been removed, sheared off, things like that, but nothing really major past the 2, which, you know, literally the boxes came back to me and they were flat. We're talking completely crushed. Totally heartbreaking, because Royal Mail has a policy that says if you built it, i.e. you've manufactured the model, even though it's a kit, apparently you become under their manufacturing laws that you can't claim on the insurance. So if you do, don't put that you made it, say your mate made it, you're shipping it for him, and then you're covered under the insurance. Anyway, big thing to remember when you're shipping your model, anything that is going to come off will come off. So i.e. whip off things like the pitot tubes on the front, canopies if they're loose fit, bung them in a zip bag, stick them to a piece of card, and away you go. Weapons, if you can get a way of getting the weapons off, it's a good idea, because a lot of the time that's things like that are going to come off. When I'm sending models, I do them different to everybody else, to be honest. A lot of people do this double boxing business and everything else. I think what you have to remember is that it's not obviously it getting the box actually taking the hit and a knock and it getting squashed that's going to break your model. It's the shock. They are going to get thrown round, so I do mine slightly different. That's why I use an engineering must, in my opinion, which is scrunchy carrier bags. Bit odd, I know, but these old plastic, really rustly carrier bags are better than bubble wrap. Bubble wrap doesn't allow for a shock, because when you pack the bubble wrap, it's still quite hard. Even though it's going to protect, it's not going to dissipate the shock of a box being dropped. So if I show you what I do, normally I find a box which is not much bigger than the item itself. That way it doesn't cost you a fortune in packing it out, and obviously the shipping cost. So here we've got a shoebox, Dorothy Perkins. It's quite strong anyway, it's nicely braced. Normally double walled box works best. And what you want to do is, so your model fits in something like that, so you've got a bit of room all the way around it. Very, very simple. Then what I tend to do, grab your carrier bags, which you do, make them into sausages, just line the bottom complete with it, so you're something like that, and that way you've got a nice shocky base just like that. Then I use this stuff, which is what they wrap new furniture in, and I've got a source for this up the road. There's a little factory and they have tons of this stuff, but literally it's a very fine soft mesh, but it's what they wrap furniture in various bits and pieces, but it's quite a soft material, so it's quite nice. So what I do, just double over a layer, put it in, so we're making like a pie. So we're in there, something just like that. Okay, you take the model. Now, if you're in a situation where you've got weapons hanging all over this thing and lots of dainty things on the bottom, sometimes what I'll do, I'll place them in upside down, so they'll fit in. So all we do, we go in and push down everywhere, so it just sits on a nice cushioned base, just like that. And then what I'll do is I'll wrap in the insides, because obviously the other thing as well, you don't want to pack it too well, because when it gets to the other end, some poor guy's got to have to unwrap this, and then when he's unwrapping it, obviously he might damage it as well. So we just sit in there just like that, and then we come along again with our nice carrier bags, okay, and we just stick them all over it completely, filling the area. Alright, and there we go, your lid would go on. Now if you really wanted to protect this, you could then put this into another box and do the same thing all around it, okay, but literally I would be happy with that. So if I just take some tape, okay, and we just take the lid down, just like this. Okay, now I would be happy with this all properly taped up to send that through the post, and I know pretty well it's going to get there, because we can do that and smash the place up, and then hopefully it gets to the other end after it's been thrown around and kicked around and all the rest of it. See, and with no camera trickery or cuttings or mirrors and all the rest of it, we should be able to open this all up very, very carefully. Okay. And out comes, there's almost knocking the back end off, our F-16 back out, and apart from obviously the set, we're back in, and then obviously the guy would come along, stick his canopy on, and away you go, and there's no damage whatsoever to it. And as long as the box is strong enough, the absorb, you know, obviously what happens is if you use carrier bags that are thick plastic or peanuts and bubble wrap, it doesn't tend to absorb the shock, as well as crunchy, crispy sounding carrier bags, they absorb the shock. That's how I've been doing it for years and never had a problem. Obviously, if you're dealing with bigger scales, make your layers thicker. I've just packed up the flanker, you might have seen me do the build. That's in a bigger box with a damn sight more of these around it to protect it, and also the box is very, very heavy duty, very, very strong, but I'm pretty confident you can actually hear it when you shake the box. You can hear it moving around in there, but because it's all packed in nice and tight, it's all nice, but that means when it is dropped in any direction, it will be absorbed throughout the box instead of it hitting hard and making things, you know, i.e. the bubble wrap unit doesn't move slightly. The carrier bags are all moving, and it's like a liquid type of effect going in there and sheds it. So that's how I do it. Okay, so that's about it for this week. Thanks for watching, and join me again next week. Okay. 2. So the wheel section here, what we can actually do, we can spray it, and then obviously we can either spray the centre or start again. Okay. 3. Okay, so we've got the centre wheel here. Now this has to be painted either before or after. What you could do is snip out the section in the middle, and then that way you'll be absolutely fine with it. 4. Okay, 20 minutes later, we've just dismantled the desk to find it again. Okay, so where